welcome to episode 12 of Movies and Us. I'm TJ.
I'm like lunch meat, and I'm always ready. I'm Marcus.
And this is the review show that reviews genre movies from the beginning, sometimes. We're going into Swamp Thing 1989 here. It's an hour and a half long. It was directed by Jim Wynorski. It is produced by Benjamin Meinecker and Michael E. Usain. Written by Neil Cuthbert and Grant Morris. Grant Morris. That sounds like a comic writer.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, though. And it stars Louis Jordan, Heather Locklear, Sarah Douglas, and Dick Durdock. Box office. I found two different numbers. 192,816 for North America and 274,950 worldwide. Didn't make a lot of money.
Not at all. In fact, it doesn't even place in the top box office, the 200 list of 1989. But I will tell you the top 10, if you guys are interested. Yeah, well, I'm saying anyways. Number 10 is a good year for movies, by the way, guys.
You say that every year.
But this, like, look at this. Okay, from 10 to 1. Number 10, Back to the Future Part 2. Then Parenthood. Then Dead Poet Society. Then Ghostbusters 2. Then Look Who's Talking. Then Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Then Rayman. Then Lethal Weapon 2. And then Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And number 1 spot, spoiler alert, Batman.
That's next week.
Yeah. Plus also came off the Ear Turner Hooch, Uncle Buck, Field of Dreams, Twins, The Abyss, Harlem Nights, Working Girl, Major League. And the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah. We know your fetish with movies. Okay.
It's amazing.
So, do you want to get the behind-the-scenes production stuff out of the way now, or you want to save it for later?
What's more juicier?
There's not much juicy, really. The director is a slime ball, and he wanted Louis Jordan, who is Anton Arcanus, who was the main bad guy in the first one, too.
Yes.
So he returned. I was actually surprised they got him to return.
I was surprised, too. Like, a lot of the cast return. Well, not a lot of the cast, but the main guys return.
Yeah, but the slime ball director wanted him to refer as one of the characters as points, which is an innuendo for her breast. And he was like, he didn't want to do it. And he asked, then Wynorski asked Jordan, why aren't you in a movie called Octopussy? And then Jordan didn't speak to him for the rest of the shoot, pretty much.
I guess we should tell the audience right now, the director, Jim Wynorski, has had a wide variety of directing titles under his name.
Yeah, so, a lot of porn.
There we go. Yeah. So that should describe who this man is. I'm not saying all porn directors and porn actors, everyone in the porn industry are scummy, squared people, but if the shoe fits.
Yeah. Also, Dick Durdock, the guy who plays Swamp Thing, apparently hated to have to go through the whole movie in a 70-pound costume, but he was like in the summertime in Savannah, Georgia. But he said the money was there and it was a job, so he did it. But yeah, the suit looks uncomfortable, but it looks really good. The special effects are actually pretty decent in this movie, surprisingly, when it comes to the practical effects anyway.
I think most things are decent. For a 1989 film, most things are pretty decent.
There's when they have to use the digital effects, it gets pretty bad.
Yes. Well, like you said, the costume, I really wrote down in my notes, it's a big improvement from the first movie. It's more... I wrote down 3D, three-dimensional. It's detail to this. That'd be just one latex layer.
Yeah, the practical effects in this are really decent. So,
yes.
One other piece of production thing: the guy who plays human Swamp Thing. When we'll get to that scene later.
Yeah, we will.
Where he's pretty much having sex with Heather Locklear.
Yep.
Well, apparently he was a model, and Heather Locklear didn't like them because he was full of himself and rubbed her the wrong way. And so as soon as his scenes was done, they asked him to leave. Yeah,
I can see that, because it was we'll get to it, it's a very weird scene.
Yeah, it's crap.
This movie's crap.
And I can see why she would not like him.
Yes.
All right. So, anything else?
Yeah, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, Marcus has a real hard hate on for this one.
I don't have hate, so I have no strong feelings.
So, I guess that's it for all the behind-the-scenes stuff. But I have... what's an Mvd Rewind Collection, which is like a Blu-ray of the movie.
Yeah.
It comes with a little poster and stuff.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And it comes with the DVD as well. Apparently, I didn't even realize that was in there until I took the poster out. But it has the Blu-ray and stuff. But I bring that up because this is the first Blu-ray and DVD I've had since Captain America, or maybe even Superman, that I actually got trailers for.
Oh, well, what were the trailers?
The first one was called Black Eagle.
Please explain what that is.
All I can tell you, it's kind of like a spy thriller that has Jean-Claude Van Damme in it.
What? Sounds amazing.
I don't know if he's a good guy or bad guy in that movie, because I couldn't tell. It didn't seem all that interesting. It looks like a generic spy thriller, though.
Yeah. Oh, I kind of want to watch that.
The second trailer I got was Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Oh, of course. Classic.
Yeah, so no need to get into that one.
No.
The third one is called Savannah Smiles.
That sounds vaguely familiar to me.
Details. It's not what you would think. Apparently, two ex-cons escape from prison. Well, a convict escapes prison because of his friend, and the way they escape is super comedic, so it's like a comedy, and they accidentally end up kidnapping this girl, and the girl's just like with them the rest of the movie. Like she's like willingly being their friends and stuff. It's like a comedy thing.
Adding it to my list as well then.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of it before this. And then the last one is called DOA, A Rite of Passage.
What's it called?
DOA, A Rite of Passage. It looks like a documentary on punk music.
Oh.
Because like the Sex Pistols are in it and stuff.
Okay.
So, but I don't think it is a documentary. It might be a mockumentary. Yeah, I'm not really sure what it was, because they like had this one like uppity guy talking about how they don't speak proper English, so he doesn't know what they're saying and stuff. Meanwhile, juxtaposition with fans of them, talking up in like concerts and stuff. So I don't know. And that's all the trailers I got. But I also got in this 2 Swamp Thing, what are they called? Public service announcements.
Oh no.
It mixed in with the trailers of Swamp Thing and stuff. And it's pretty much those two little kids in this movie.
Yes.
The little fat kid throws a plastic cup in a water, and Swamp Thing comes out and says, "You should not, throw plastic around because it's 1,000 years in the nature. It doesn't degrade for 1,000 years. So recycle, kids."
Wow, man, the environmentalists been on that message since the 80s. Jesus.
Yep.
Kidding, guys.
I didn't actually watch the other one because it looked like a repeat.
Oh, okay.
But I think it actually might have been slightly different, but I thought it was a repeat, so I was like, eh. And then I went back and it said 2. And I was like, I really don't want to watch that second one. So.
Well, how long was the PSA?
A minute and a half.
Oh, you couldn't dedicate a minute and a half for our listeners, TJ.
I did. I did one.
Well, go pop it on right now. I'll do the other one.
No, thanks. I'm good.
I'm pretty sure they'll be appreciative.
If they want, they can look up the Swamp Thing PSA. Alright, you ready to start this movie proper now? So we all open up in a swamp, as per usual, with Swamp Thing. And there's these, at first they look like hunters.
Yes.
Because they got guns and stuff, and they're trudging through the swamp. And this is where you get, the tone of this movie.
Yes.
Everybody's a cartoon in this movie.
Okay, you said, yeah. Every character you come across is a character. There's no person in this, it's a character.
Right, so these hunters are trudging through, and it's typical horror open, even though this is like the only horror scene in this movie.
Would you even call this horror?
No, but it's every horror open and everything, Yeah. They separate from one guy, he gets eaten, and stuff like that.
Or whatever happened to him.
Right, and so the one guy gets drowned, and then we get introduced to our first practical effect in this, Swamp Cthulhu. Apparently, we learn later that it's a genetically spliced human with a leech.
Yes. But it's a leech? That's what that is?
Apparently.
Wow.
But it looked like Cthulhu from a distance. It looked like it had tentacles and stuff.
Yeah, like a big elephant trunk-like thing.
Yeah, I just referred to it as Swamp Cthulhu from then on out.
That's totally fair.
But yeah, so Swamp Cthulhu appears out of here, and he attacks them. And then there was 5 hunters, and only 3 remain. 2 went off one way, 1 went off the other way. The two that once one way got ambushed by these two people, got tranquilizer darted by this lady in a tank top and this guy that doesn't like wearing shirts.
No, they got killed.
No, they got tranked.
I'm thinking with other guys then, huh?
Yeah, because these two run into a Jeep.
Yeah.
And they get shot with a tranquilizer dart.
That was tranquilizer darts?
Yeah, you didn't recognize them later?
No.
Alright, we'll get to that later then.
Oh my goodness, because I wrote down my notes. I was like, world's quietest gun and world's worst fake death scene. Like, wow, okay. Well, not worst, but wow. Trank done. Okay, that makes way more sense.
Did you pick up that these hunters were also, they said they were government agents?
Yes, I got that part.
Okay. Well, apparently they're government agents trudging through a swamp and looking for, what were they looking for? Moonshine distillery?
Something stupid.
Yeah, I think they're looking for these two guys that show up later who were making moonshine. So, but the other guy, the one that gets away, I called him Glasses because that's his finest trait. He's got glasses. He runs into Swamp Cthulhu, and then we get introduced to Swamp Thing. And we get Swamp Thing versus Swamp Cthulhu.
And it's like the most badass fight I've seen to date.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, no, sarcasm. Not at all.
No, it's more fight than we got in the first one, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, so eventually Swamp Thing just throws him around and then he runs away.
Yeah, that's most of the fights in this movie. I guess he wasn't was really mobile in the costume, so he just throws a few punches, maybe throws a creature, and that's about it.
Yeah, I guess. Did you catch this, though? Did you catch what Swamp Thing's theme music in this?
The music was a lot, but I didn't catch what it was.
It's like every time Swamp Thing goes out, they play this like samurai Japanese theme. It was weird, really weird.
Yes, I got that.
So Swamp Thing hands his glasses back his glasses, and Glasses sees Swamp Thing for the first time, and I guess he screams. And then we cut to a really cool opening, I think.
I love this opening, actually.
Yeah, I think this is the first time that we get comic panels in a comic book movie, too.
I was gonna say that, yeah. No, it's not the typical we know now Marvel flip through, but it is just like a montage, I guess, of the comic panels of the Swamp Thing comics.
Right, even though this doesn't seem to have anything to do with those comics.
No. I was like, man, I'd rather watch these or just read the books, honestly, than watch this movie.
And the comics are flipping through to Creedence Clearwater Revival's Born on a Bayou, so that was pretty cool, too.
Yeah. Like, I honestly, like, that beginning scene, which lasted about 8 minutes, too long, was blah, whatever. But the opening sequence, like, okay, this is the kind of movie I want to watch. I hope this is where it goes. It doesn't go that way.
Yeah, no. But we do cut to a plant shop where we get introduced to our heroine of the movie.
Heather Locklear.
Who is playing Abby Arcane. And she really loves plants.
Oh, she loves plants, oh, that's for sure.
As she's talking to her plants, withering to her plants, and talking to this woman named Enos.
She's a name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who doesn't say a word. She's just, like, rolling her eyes at Abby, or Heather Locklear, whatever you want to say.
In a weird way, like that, Enid was some of the best acting in this movie.
Yeah,
because she's just playing that character like it's not like no vocals, no dialogue, just yeah, whatever. You child, gotta be watching my stories.
But anyway, Abby's like,
sorry,
she's explaining her story. Her mother died a little while, and she needs to go settle things with her stepfather because of reasons.
And doing all this, she's like, this is pure exposition. She's saying this. She's saying, I can't find a boyfriend. I've been through 4 therapists in 4 years, and they all said the same thing, like they know me or some stuff like that. It's very bad. It's delivered really bad too.
And then we cut to Anton Arcane without an explanation of how he survived or what he's doing here, everything. Even
later, when Swamp Thing describes how he's back, he says, "What's he say? I fought him and I killed him, or so I thought." That's the best detail we're getting in it. That's the best explanation.
No, they do explain it somewhat later.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I said a lot in this movie. I'm so sorry, everybody.
Yeah. But apparently he's trying to splice people together. We never understand why he's doing this, though.
No. I mean, I guess later on...
No, but those experiments later on have nothing to do with him turning people into monsters.
No, because I know, during this scene, he says something, gene splicing lab, rejuvenation serum. So I guess it's got to be something along with this.
Oh, maybe.
There's gotta be a connection, because why else would he do this?
I don't know, but he's turning people into horrifying things. Like, there's this one guy that's turned into a half elephant creature.
Yes, another one's like a half cockroach, half human.
Yeah, that was horrifyingly gross.
Was it? I thought, like you said earlier, these effects were really cool. Creepy, but very cool.
Right. Did you notice, though, the cockroach, I think the cockroach guy, and the one that they said the serum doesn't work, were the hunters from earlier.
What?
Yeah, the two that got tranked.
That makes so much... Oh, wow. Okay. Because I thought they were shot and killed dead, so I didn't put two and two together, but I'm watching it now. You're right. Huh. I should give this movie more credit than I gave it. Now, to be fair, while I'll review... I don't hate this movie. I really don't hate this movie. It does what it does really well, but I don't like what it's doing.
Yeah. It's very campy.
And the dark very pure...
And the dark stuff's not dark enough to really, force the Swamp Thing mythos and stuff like that.
And the comedy's not really funny enough to be like a haha kind of movie. It's just, it feels safe. It feels like it's a movie that's put together good enough.
It feels like a safe movie. I was really kind of disappointed that was PG-13.
Is this PG-13?
Yeah. If you know for sure, this director would have had Hunter Locklear naked if he could have.
Oh, for sure. He would have had all the women naked if he could have. It would have been really more scantily, more skeevy.
But it's very, very safe and toned down.
Yeah.
Almost kiddie.
Yes. But it's like teenager, like edgy, like the gateway to like Videodrome and like everything else.
Anyway, we got this. A cop shows up at the Arcane Mansion, and he's pretty much an idiot.
No, is that a theme throughout all these superhero movies? Our cops are just idiots? Because we had like one competent cop yet? Like from Superman's, like when they land, Superman 2, when they land in that small village, and the cops are just idiots shooting at them, and just. I remember in Captain America, there were idiots.
To be fair, though, I don't know, with the exception of Captain America, every one of these movies kind of take place down in the South, and they're all, like, hillbilly-ish.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So why did these all take down in the South? That's a weird connection, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess Midwest for Superman.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm thinking filming incentives. That makes more sense. It's cheaper, easier, more money back.
I'm thinking of actual, like, Swamp Thing was in Louisiana.
True.
This one's apparently in Florida.
Filming-wise or setting-wise?
Abigail Arcane travels to Florida, the Florida swamps to confront her evil stepfather. It's what the plot says on Wikipedia.
Yeah, I'm watching it. I'm reading. Well, I know Florida has that as film incentive, so that could be why they filmed this there.
And then, in Superman 2, when Zod travels, didn't he land in the South somewhere?
It was like Kentucky or something like that.
Yeah, and even freaking Superman, that was in an oil refinery down in Texas, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's fascinating. That's really fascinating.
So I guess it's just an excuse to get bumbling idiot hillbilly cops.
Yeah.
I lost my place now.
I'm sorry. The sheriff sits down talking about why he's there and why he was called over.
Oh, right. And so, yeah, he's just telling them about the survivor. And this is where we learned that this is the same Arcane from the first movie, because he knows who Alec Holland is.
Yep.
He knows everything that's happened. So this is a direct sequel.
Which honestly surprised me, because going in, I thought it'd be like some just rip-off or a weird spin-off.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, they've disintegrated that cockroach hybrid.
Yeah,
I forgot to write that.
To put him down, they put him like this weird... The lab is a huge lab, but it's like very clean and open. But they put him in this like weird disintegration chamber thing.
Why is it every lab that we've seen has over-the-top nonsensical machines?
Because sci-fi, TJ.
They got like boiling Jello juice going on in this one.
I know. It's got cages for the animals, like a prison cell. It's a weird lab.
Anyway, Abby Arcane shows up in a cab at Anton Arcane's mansion. And then Anton Arcane's like, oh, she's got perfect DNA like her mother. I don't know how you could tell that without studying her.
Also, like that's his daughter, right? No, niece.
Stepdaughter. Yes. So I'm going to get to that in a moment, but go ahead.
Okay. No, that's what to know.
Oh, by the way, Anton Arcane also has this doctor love interest that he's been sleeping with, I guess.
Yeah.
and another doctor guy who is helping him out with his experiments.
Dr. Asthma.
Yeah, Dr. Asthma.
That's why he always has an inhaler with him.
So in this version, Abby Arcane is the stepdaughter of Anton Arcane.
Okay.
Why they have the same last name if their step doesn't really make no sense.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Because you would think, I mean, yeah, the mother would take his last name, but if she was born beforehand, she would have a different last name.
Or maybe a hyphen, or she would have taken it, but once the mother died, she would have changed it back or something.
But in the comics, Abby Arcane is actually his niece.
Huh, okay. Why'd they change it for this, do you know?
I have no idea. It doesn't, I guess to have that daughter-mother connection.
But why?
I don't know. Also to show that he's obsessed with her a little bit, too.
Okay. It's more creepy, but whatever.
We cut from there.
Yep.
Well, the next scene, we get the most superfluous characters in this movie as we get introduced to two annoying kids.
I love these kids.
Marcus Jr. and some fat little boy, white boy.
At first, I really hated it. Like, why are we watching this movie? Why are we doing this dumb story arc? But as the movie progresses, I really enjoy these kids more and more. They're on screen. So
explain the kids.
Okay, well, they're not kids, they're characters. But there's one skinny little black kid. Do they have names?
They do.
Well, you find the names as I describe them.
You don't know their names?
Yeah, I wrote down the characters on my phone, on my thing. I have Dr. Asthma, I have Bad Dude, I have Swamp Thing, I have Head Security, I have Bad Dude's daughter, I have Mistress, I have Kid 1 and Kid 2. Yes, I know their names, Kid 1, Kid 2. Kid 1's tall, skinny black kid. He's like the leader of the two, I guess you could say. He introduces the kid, like he shows the kid other kid nudie mags. Kid 2 is a portly little white kid. He's more southern, more, hey guys, so we doing about me kind of kid. He's like the Chunk from Goonies.
Oh, by the way, it took me a minute to find their names. I found them.
Okay, what's the kid's name?
Which one do you want first?
Let's go with the little black kid.
His name is Omar, and apparently he was in Sister Sister.
Okay, what's the white kid's name?
Daryl, and he doesn't have a wiki page.
Bullshit. So. His name's Daryl.
Yes, but yeah,
they have a chemistry. They do. These kids do have chemistry, even though it's obvious that they're acting.
So we're introduced to these two characters, and the white kid is out. I know I'm racially describing these kids, but it's either going to be white kid or fat kid, your choice. So
nowadays, I think white kid's less offensive than fat kid, so white kid's fine.
Okay, well, the white kid is trapped outside in the rain, and the black kid's not letting him in, so he's gonna bum rush the door, and then the black kid just opens the door before he can do it, and he trips over himself. This black kid just picks on this white kid the whole movie.
Oh, he does.
This is where we get our product placement, because the white kid asks the black kid, do you have anything hard to drink? And so he's like, yeah. One of them opens a Coke, the other one opens a Pepsi. Did you catch that?
I did. I love it.
They got both. And then they turn on MTV.
Yes. 1989 MTV. So good.
And then they pull out a bunch of porn magazines.
Because this is what this guy is. I'm assuming they're Playboys, obviously.
Probably, but it doesn't matter. There's more than just Playboys. There's a lot of magazines.
Are there really?
There's a lot of, no, they pulled out a lot of magazines, these two kids.
Well, I'm saying there's more, like, I don't know, porn magazines. I'm a millennial. Like, were there other brand? We're not getting into this rabbit hole. Continue.
I only know of two. I know of Playboy and Hustler.
Hustler, okay.
Yeah,
I always thought they were the same.
No, I'm sure there are plenty of others.
Hey guys, if you want us to let us know, just email TJ and just tell him what kind of magazines there used to be.
The one universal truth is that sex sells, so...
Amen.
So, yeah, they're about to look at their nudie magazines when Swamp Cthulhu just knocks on the door.
Yeah.
I actually laughed, though.
Did you really?
When he opened the door and it reveals Swamp Cthulhu and he just closes it.
You laughed at that bit?
I don't know why. It was so stupid.
It really...
it made me laugh.
That's fair. I'll go back to the prosthetics. They're really good. The makeup's really good in this movie.
Yeah.
Like the mouth's moving a little bit.
So, Yeah, okay. I'm looking at the scene right now, and one of the porn magazines called Young and Easy.
Oh no. Ew.
But yeah, so Swamp Cthulhu knocks on the door and then breaks in to attack these kids for some reason. I don't know why.
Because the movie has to movie.
And so the kids throw a bowling ball out a window instead of just opening it. And they escape out the back window where Swamp Thing returns, and it's Swamp Thing versus Swamp Cthulhu Part 2.
Electric Boogaloo. Literally Electric Boogaloo. They pull these metal rods out of things. They start clashing them together, throwing each other and hitting cars.
Yeah, Swamp Thing pulls out a piece of a pole from a swing.
Yes.
And then for some reason,
yes.
Every time the two poles hit each other, they were electrifying.
Yes, for some weird reason.
And then Swamp Cthulhu hits like a propane tank and blows up all the cars and stuff.
And that just blows them up, but really blows them up. The newspaper later on says the explosions can be heard miles away. So he does some damage with that little hit.
But Space Cthulhu, I said Space Cthulhu, that's just Cthulhu. Swamp Cthulhu gets set on fire, and they repeat the scene from the first movie.
Yes.
Where he's running and he jumps off into the water, and I think that's the last we see is Swamp Cthulhu.
I think you're right, actually.
I guess that killed him.
I want to note, I thought I would never be bored watching someone run away while on fire, but man, was that a boring scene.
Yeah. It wasn't great.
No.
I mean, it is just a costume, so.
Yeah, but he wasn't even flailing around. He was just like, okay, I gotta walk this way now, I guess.
Yeah. But after Swamp Thing deals with it, he gives the kids a thumbs up.
And walks away.
It was so corny.
Yeah, this movie is very corny.
But Anton Arcane knows Alec Collins around now, so he sends all of his guards out to search for him. And for some reason, some of their search is them in a helicopter dropping dynamite into a lake.
Because, yes, production budgets have to be filled.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, of course. Oh man, we have $10,000 to kill. They will take it away from us. They're on jet skis. They're on jet skis, not even looking around. This is so stupid.
Yeah, it is.
In a weird way, this movie, even though it's still based in a swamp, I didn't have that swamp feeling like the first one did.
Nah, it didn't really take place in the swamp.
But even the swamp scenes weren't really swamp scenes, if that makes sense. The first one felt dirty, hot, and just man, I don't want to be out here.
So Abby's been welcomed into her uncle's or her stepfather's home, and now they're going to have dinner. And this is where, he gives her mother's ring, but it's really sharp, and then she bleeds because they did to collect her blood for some reason.
For gene splicing and test to make sure it's the right DNA.
But she doesn't she knows that her stepfather is evil or a jerk or whatever. So she's going to go out into the swamps and wander around at night for some reason.
Because why not, right?
Yeah. And she just so happens, as she's wandering out the swamp, to run into those two hillbillies that were doing moonshine. They're arguing over what to do. One wants to murder things, the other one wants to steal cars.
Yeah, I had to write it down because it was so outlandish. You want to steal a car? No. You want to burn a house? No. You want to run over dogs? No. I was my God. This is what they're going to talk about while they're drinking moonshine?
They end up settling on they need to go in the city and find a woman because they haven't seen a woman in 10 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And then as they say that, Abby just happens to walk out in front of them, and of course, they go and try to rape her.
Because that's what... God, these movies. Girl goes by herself, she's going to get raped. Is that how it's just that the standard for movie writing at these times?
I guess. Anyway, but Swamp Thing shows up and beats them up.
Before they go to force the will on her, another line they say. They had some good one-liners. The dumb brother says, "Are you ready?" And the other one says, "I'm like lunch meat. I'm always ready." I was like, what did he say? I had to rewind that and play it again to hear what he said.
Swamp Thing melts and explodes because he starts to explain to Heather Locklear we get a pretty much a first movie recap.
Yes. Well, do you want to talk about the fight or no?
He just beats up the rapist. Who cares? He just punches them and throws them around like he does in every other fight scene.
Yeah. Okay.
But then Anton's guards show up, right?
Yes. The main honcho bodyguard does.
And they take her, and then they end up blowing up Swamp Thing with a grenade.
Yeah.
I think.
They shoot him down in a river, in the swamp, and blow him up. But his little pieces are, like, radioactive. I wanted to ask you, I have it in my notes, Swamp Thing's voice in the movie is still the guy's voice. They didn't alter at all. Did they describe his voice in the comic books at all?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
Why?
Because it's just his voice doesn't match what he looks like. So I was just like, they couldn't make her deeper and blah, blah, blah. Or it was like, because it was just him just talking. I was just curious.
Well, Swamp Thing is much more literate in this one.
Yes. Yes, he actually talks and talks properly.
Yeah, so...
I guess he has time to learn, I guess, so.
Yeah, I mean, it is a direct sequel, so I guess there's been some time in between the last movie and this one.
Yes.
So, they take Abby back to the lab and put her in a prison cell, I guess. This is where they say that the two doctors that are working with Arcane found him nearly dead and restored him back to his proper self, but he's still degenerating and they need to find the proper rejuvenation thing to lock in his human form in order to keep him alive.
Now, if I am correct, in the first one, like, he was a creature, obviously, and was, like, impaled on something and bled out to death.
Was he stabbed with a sword, or was he stabbed with, like, a pointy tree stump?
It was a sword. Yeah, they had a weird sword fight in the swamps, and he bled out to death, didn't he?
As far as I know.
How the hell did these men, the scientists, know where to find him just in time to rejuvenate him properly?
He was just floating along the swamp and they found him.
That's so stupid.
Anton Arcane decides to be Dracula and play really creepy piano music.
Yeah, for some reason.
And then the guard that's guarding Abby in her jail is getting really rapey.
As men do.
Apparently, when they see a pretty woman.
I'll give you that she was very pretty.
Okay.
Not rape pretty, but like, well, I never saw Heather Locklear before in my life, I don't think, like, in her prime like this.
Oh, okay.
I've only heard her name, so I never really...
You only heard the name before?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's attractive.
I thought she was a singer, so I don't know who the fuck she was.
No, I think she was like in Melrose Place or something like that.
Yeah, I'm young. Never saw that show.
Yeah, well, I did. All right.
You're old.
Not a lot of it, but
yeah, she's very pretty.
But anyway, yeah. So he lets her out of the cell and shows her around, and then he gets all rapey and tries to, jump on her. She kicks him in the balls a couple of times before she just escapes up the elevator, where she runs into the other doctor girl who gives her key so she can escape because she learned that Anton Arcane's going to sacrifice her so that he can steal her energy to live or something. I don't know.
That felt like a weird character turn arc thing.
Not really. If you hear that she was in love with this guy apparently, and then she hears that she's one of two people in this place that they need to heal Arcane, but they're not going to survive their experiments. What, you be like, oh well, you're going to sacrifice me for you?
Yeah, but like that's his whole MO. Like that's not surprising in the slightest.
Yeah, but he didn't seem to be that way with her up until that point.
Yeah, but he's a selfish asshole. Like, he's doing this to his stepdaughter. Like, why wouldn't he do it to her? It's just it's like, I get where you're coming from. It just feels like she should not be surprised or upset by this.
Sometimes love is blind.
That's so true.
So,
I love you, TJ.
So Abby's about to escape, and then thugs capture her, and then Beth Thing shows up.
How did he get, did he know where he was going? Or did they just suck him up?
Well, he was blown up by a grenade earlier, we said.
Yes.
And so he turned into sludge, essentially. And I guess the sludge floated downstream into the pipes of Anton Arcane that led up to his bathtub so he can sneak in and then reform himself. I don't know. It's ridiculous.
It's super ridiculous. Now, in the comic books, you said he's got supernatural powers, obviously.
Yes.
When he's, in his form, he gets blown up into little pieces. Does he still have a consciousness, or does he just, naturally form back together?
In the comics, it depends on the lore. Swamp Thing is, everywhere at once.
Yeah.
So he could be in two places and once at the same time, and, essentially, he could be every piece of grass that he's standing in.
That him going through the sewage and getting into the bathtub isn't too far-fetched then, comic book lore-wise.
No, that would be a comic book plot without a doubt.
Okay.
But anyway, Swamp Thing shows up in the house, beats up the guard, saves Abby, and they get in the car. And for some reason, Swamp Thing drives.
I loved it. I loved it so much. I saw him get to the Jeep. Okay, she's gonna drive. He's gonna be in the sidecar. Nope, he's the one driving. The man's gotta drive.
Well, while he's driving, Abby's shooting guards and killing people.
Yes. She's got a shot. First off, these guards are 20 deep and just shooting randomly at them. Not a single bullet's hitting them, obviously. And she's turned around jaggedly with a weird shotgun or assault rifle. I don't know guns. And she starts shooting, and she's like hitting people left and right. Like, such good aim for a botanist.
Not a botanist. I think she just worked at a plant shop. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, whatever she does for a living, she should not be that good of a shot. So I'll take it for this movie.
Anyway, we cut to her sleeping onto a tree, on a tree, and that looked very uncomfortable.
You skipped the kids.
Did I?
Yes.
How could I?
Omar and Daryl, they're talking about getting a picture of Swamp Thing and to get $10,000 reward cash. Then it cuts to her.
Sleeping uncomfortably next to a tree. Looks like her neck is going to be broken.
Yes. There's like with rose petals all around her for some reason.
Well, anyway, she wakes up and she's immediately into something, calling him her boyfriend and stuff.
Yeah, so quickly. Like,
this romance developed in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, this whole section of the movie is just not cool. It's creepy.
And they're like, Swamp Thing's like, we can't be together because I'm me. And she's like, there has to be a way. And so Swamp Thing takes a piece of himself.
Nah, I don't like this.
A piece of himself off. And they both eat it.
Yeah.
And I guess Swamp Thing's made of drugs because they're like high now.
Ugh.
And then we cut to the scene we were talking about earlier where it's human Swamp Thing and human Heather Locklear. And I guess they're both naked, but it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, I didn't really watch the scene because this is so creepy and cringy. And her and the model is just like rubbing up against each other, like not kissing but kissing, and it's like,
yeah, and they're standing up, but it looks like they're having, but it's really hard to tell what's going on in the scene.
It's like one of the most PG sex scenes I've ever seen in my life. I never wanted to see ever.
Yeah. So I guess they were both high. Yes. And I don't know if they actually had sex in real life because it doesn't look like it.
No, and she said it wasn't real, and he says it's as real as you want it to be. I was like, don't like that. That makes it even worse.
So, Abby Arcane and Swamp Thing have a weird relationship in the comics too.
Oh, do they? Was it as weird as that?
They are lovers.
Okay.
But Swamp Thing.
Yes.
And they're not that compatible in that way.
Okay.
So I think the storyline is that they wanted to have a kid at one time. So what they ended up doing, if I remember correctly, I could be doing this storyline wrong, but I remember Swamp Thing possessing John Constantine's body. And so Alec Hadwin in John Constantine's body was sleeping with Abby Arcane so they could have a kid, if I remember correctly.
Man, comic books are weird.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to say to that. It's so random. How did John Constantine get involved?
Well, John Constantine was introduced in Swamp Thing, I think.
No.
I think he was a Swamp Thing character.
Oh, John Constantine, was such a memorable character, came from Swamp Thing?
I think maybe not a Swamp Thing title, but I know he was in his first story was a Swamp Thing story, I believe.
That's interesting.
Yeah. That Swamp Thing and John Constantine have always been kind of interconnected.
Huh. That makes Swamp Thing more interesting to me. Gives him more lore, more depth to him.
So we cut back to the lab.
Wait, hold on. Before I forget, there's a line that led to the sex scene, and she was saying, "I want to be with you," and something was saying, "I can't be done. I'm a plant." And she says, "Doesn't matter. I'm a vegan." It's like, oh, ew, it's a terrible pickup line. No. So yeah, I want to put that out there too. There's a lot of good lines in this movie, but a lot of creepy lines as well.
So we cut back to the lab, and the girl doctor tricks the guy doctor, not Anton Arcane, his other guy doctor helper, into like a room and gives him the serum instead of her getting a serum that was meant for her to be killed.
Yes.
And so he's locked away and he disappears. Then I just wrote the next scene is idiot kids, so I don't know what happened there.
What happens? Oh, it's just them being stupid and talking about food and the pictures. Nothing of importance, really. It's just moving their plot along.
And then the guards show up and kidnap the kids.
Yep.
For some reason. They don't even kidnap the kids. They come in just to rob them. These are just terrible guards.
Terrible guards. Terrible story.
They're criminals.
Oh, pure criminals.
They're just comically evil, I guess.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, that's happened. Swamp Thing and Abigail are still on their little date thing they're having.
Yeah, the substance of this date, I remember because I was like kind of shocked and offended by this with the few lines they say. He was saying in this area a few slaves were killed here because they ran away or something like that, and their ghosts haunt this place. But their sad ghosts haunt this place. And her character says, I couldn't imagine being sad among a beautiful place like this. It's like, so you can't imagine a slave who died here being sad? It just made me feel sad. Made me hate her character more.
So they're on their date, and then the kids scream, so Swamp Thing shows up to beat up the guards again with a baseball bat.
Now, Swamp Thing, is he a good fighter in the comics?
What?
Is he a fighter in the comics? Like, does he actually fight?
Well, he doesn't really fight as much as he uses, like, plants as an extension of himself to use fight. Like, he uses a lot of stretchy, like, spikes and stuff.
Why don't they ever do this in a movie? It'd be so much more visually entertaining to see.
That's an expensive effect, probably.
I mean, if they got enough money for these creepy-looking gene-spliced creatures, I'm pretty sure they can make some rubber vines.
They're lazy. So, the kids want a picture with Swamp Thing, and Swamp Thing just agrees to it.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, only if the kid takes a picture with me, though. You would think he doesn't want a picture taken of him. You know, other people coming hunting him down and stuff.
That's what I was getting weird. Like, I got that vibe. Also got the vibe that he was like, he's just a cool dude.
I mean, I guess.
He's still human. He's still a nice dude. Like, he's still a charming creature in the movie, at least.
Well, whatever the case, while he's posing with the kids, his girlfriend gets kidnapped again and taken back to the arcane mansion again. Oh, man, the movie's just repeating itself at this point.
Yeah.
This is where we learn that Anton Arcane's trying to make a potion that reverses his aging process and to become immortal.
Yep.
Meanwhile, he's telling his guards to find his missing doctor, but they are too busy comparing scars. Swamp Thing breaks into the mansion. He breaks onto the grounds and starts beating up all the guards.
Yes.
Meanwhile, they do their experiments, and Anton Arcane does it. He reverses his aging process, and Abby dies with bad special effects.
They weren't that bad, though. They were just like, the love interest does something too.
Yeah, well, the love interest switched the vials on the thing so that Anton Arcane's growing, like, stuff out of his hand instead of just being a human.
Yes.
And so he shoots her, I think, and kills her. I wrote her name's Lana. I finally got her name at that point. Anton kills Dr. Lana, I wrote.
Yes. And then Swamp Thing bursts in. And I remember throwing a chair at the doctor, and I started laughing.
Throws a chair at the doctor. And then the other doctor that was trapped earlier breaks out, and he looks like a giant brain.
He looks like a bad alien. An ugly.
Like a misshapen cone head.
Yeah. Yes.
It was, so, yeah, they get into a fight, and then when the brain gets thrown into the disintegration machine.
Yeah, the fight consists of, it's like a bad video game at the time period. Punch, punch, throw. Oh, that works? I'm doing it again. Punch, punch, throw. It keeps working. I'm going to spam this combo. Punch, punch, throw into this disintegrator.
Yeah, because outside, he meets up with the main head guard bad guy, and the main bad guy's driving at him with a car, and so Swamp Thing picks up a grenade and blows him up.
Yes. Know what this guy looks like? What Swamp Thing's fighting?
What?
How I imagine our average A-sucker viewer.
I was waiting for it. You didn't say it yet, and I was waiting for it, but I wasn't going to bring it up until you did.
What? I love my egg-sucker jokes. They're great.
Uh-huh. I was wondering if it was going to happen.
Of course it's going to happen. Better than your damn bird puns.
What bird puns?
You know what the I'm talking about.
I never did a pun before. I hate puns.
Mm-hmm. And you're a liar, too? Can't believe you.
So, the guy survived the grenade launcher and shows up with a chainsaw that Swamp Thing knocks out of his hand almost immediately, then pulls off another grenade on his belt and throws him into a room, and he blows up. And I assume it dies because he never shows up again.
Who blows up? Oh, that thing. Yeah.
No, the guy shows up with a chainsaw.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I totally skipped out what you were saying.
But then, the brain monster guy in the disintegration machine causes the disintegration machine to cause a self-destruct
a sequence kind of
mechanism. Why do you have that built in?
And why is it built into that device?
Yeah, specifically that device.
Yes. Such a random thing.
Anton Arcane is beaten by a chair and a self-destruct mechanism. Because apparently...
Yes, exactly.
Apparently all Swamp Thing had to do was beat Anton Arcane and throw a chair at him. Because he just sits there the rest of the scene.
Yeah,
while everything else has happened. And he sits there as the place blows up.
It's very, very anticlimactic from the first one. Like, why bring back the same villain? At the fight scene, the death scene, everything's just like lesser.
I don't know, but then they spent a long time showing Swamp Thing carrying out the corpse of...
my goodness.
Of Heather Locklear.
Oh, it takes forever.
He takes her back to the place where, she was sleeping before. And then he revives her with bad green polka dot special effects.
Yes, he feeds her some swamp crap off his body.
While he's doing that, the kids show up and get their pictures. We get one last reveal here that plants are growing out of Heather Locklear's feet, and I guess she's Mrs. Swamp Thing, is what they're implying there.
God, that's a weird concept. I wouldn't mind the love story between her and him if it was over a long period of time. She saw him one day and loves him. Like, what? It's creepy.
She was established of loving plants in the very first scene. But that's all we got.
Yeah, it's so weird. I get bad writing.
This is also the first movie that gives us a mid-credit scene.
Yes, I want to say that. Yeah,
because they show all the actors and on their picture of them, and then as the credits of the roll, we cut back to the kids. Oh no, there was no film in the camera. The end.
I like those kids, man. I'm sorry. But yeah, that's the movie.
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
But it wasn't really bad either. Like, it's a bad movie by the acting standards and directing standards and story standards. But not even the story's there, and it goes to A to B to C to D to E. There's no A to Z without telling you what happens in the middle. There's no, like, A to G to B. You're like, whoa, we skipped some stuff here. Like, it's a cohesive story, so I don't mind that.
I don't know. It's sad when the best part's the opening.
Like the sequence?
Well, that whole cheesy horror opening and then the comic panel opening.
See, I don't like the horror. I just like the comic book panel part.
I mean, it was just there. It wasn't offensive or anything.
The movie or that sequence?
Just the opening, yeah.
No. This whole movie is just there, though, to me. It's like, nothing's offensive about it. It's just...
Yeah, no, but I mean, the opening followed by the comic credit scene just, it was like, oh, maybe this won't be so bad.
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying? And then it just didn't peak at all.
It set a tone and it stayed at a tone.
Yeah, it didn't get any better or worse. It just stayed.
Now, for you, did you feel any emotions in this movie? Like, did you get really happy or sad? Besides the cringy stuff, did you get feel any real emotions?
I laughed once or twice at the kids.
Okay, like the thing opening the door.
Yeah, it's like stupid little things that really shouldn't make you laugh, but because it's just so ridiculous and cliche that you can't help it.
Yeah, is this something you should recommend to someone?
It depends on their taste in movies.
Yeah, really.
Because I know some people who would love this movie.
Really?
Yes.
Man, you know some wrong people. I'm kidding.
But I also know people that would hate this movie.
Yeah, that's a guarantee.
So it depends on your taste in movies. If you like this B-movie schlock, then yeah, you'd probably like it.
Yeah, I guess. Because I guess I don't like B-movie schlock because I didn't love this or like it. So
I mean, I was going into this expecting, a horror, sleazy horror movie.
Same, because we did a research on it before. We saw that who the guy was,
and I think our expectations were set differently.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I think that's what it was, and we just ended up getting a very safe, kind of boring movie at times.
Yeah, too safe. This is the route they went.
I thought this was gonna be the most sleazy superhero movie that we were gonna get.
I thought it was gonna be more more campy, more ludicrous, more just wow, okay.
Yeah, it was just meh.
Yeah, it's just there. I didn't hate it at all, but I definitely didn't love it either.
All right, so what are you giving it?
A 3 out of 10.
I can't go that low.
Really?
4.
That's fair.
You're harsher on movies than I am, though.
I know. I couldn't give it a 5 because 5 is average. This is not an average movie.
Yeah, I was leaning towards a 5 in the beginning, but as the movie kept going on...
It's funny because it's only an hour and a half, but my God.
Oh yeah, that hour mark, I hit the button. I still got a half hour left. Jesus Christ.
I hit that 10 minutes into the movie okay, how much do we have? I'm done. Oh man, no, because I didn't want to give this. It's not what saved this movie from a lower score was that the story, like I said, was cohesive. It went to A to B to C. It didn't contradict itself at all. It's like, okay, it's telling a confident story.
And despite the fact that they didn't do anything with them, the returning characters did help because we knew who they were.
Yes. Like they play. Like, there's nothing bad, like egregiously bad, to make it like a 1 or 2.
Right now,
It's a fascinating movie. I feel like in that aspect.
yeah. I don't know. It's hard to decipher in certain aspects.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really leave you feeling anything for it.
It really doesn't. Like, I feel empty. Like, I feel...
it's done.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Like, there's an hour and a half gone. I don't remember what happened, but I don't know how I feel about it. It's very weird.
All right, I'm done talking to these idiots.
Yeah.